Hatte seine Topzeit vor ein paar Jahren, stand mal im UK Open Halbfinale 2006, erreichte das WM-Viertelfinale 2007. Inzwischen ein bisschen abgerutscht im Ranking, die aktuelle Nummer 101 der Welt. Aus St. Helens, the Saint Alan Tabern. Alan Tabern tritt an gegen den World Masters Champion aus dem Jahre 1993. 3 Jahre später, 96, gewann er die BDO-Weltmeisterschaft. Und 2013 war er auf dieser Bühne damals im Finale über Mervyn King erfolgreich und holte sich den Titel. Die aktuelle Nummer 25 der Welt, der Spieler mit dem vielleicht schönsten Nickname von allen, The Bronzed Adonis, Steve Beaton.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Glaspalast here in Sindelfingen, near Stuttgart in Germany. This afternoon has not let us down. We've had some pulsating contests so far, and it just gets better, because here we have Tash versus Tash. Sexy darts with the gold chain around the neck of Steve Beaton, the Adonis, the 20-year world champion now, and the resurgent, the return of the Saint from St. Helens. Good to see Alan back on the European tour. But my God, we've all said it. When we grow up, we all want to be Steve Beaton. He's timeless, and he's back on the stage. Well, back in the commentary box with me is Dan Dawson.
Yeah, I've had to have a little lie down after Raymond van Barneveld's heroics earlier on, but I'm refreshed for what is a retro game of darts we've got here. Steve Beaton. As you say, Paul, 20 years ago, a world champion, even longer than that, the World Masters.
23 years a World Master. He's been a World Master longer than Max Hopp's been alive.
First leg, Steve to throw first. Game on.
And it is Beaton who will throw first in this contest, fighting it out for a place in the final day of action at the Happy Bet European Darts Grand Prix. The winner will face either Darren Webster or the world #1 Michael van Gerwen. Now, it's fair to say that Alan Tabern is probably going to have to up his game a little bit. He hit 4 180s yesterday in his first Euro Tour match for 3 years. He saw off Scott Taylor, the debutant. He won it 6-2, but he did miss a lot of darts at doubles. He was hitting fewer than 1 in 4 at doubles, and you don't think that Beaton is going to give you that many chances, particularly here, Steve Beaton, because this is the venue of his 1 Euro Tour title-winning success here at the Glaspalast in Sindelfingen. He was crowned the German Darts Masters champion in 2013. Beat Mervyn King in the final of that one in a deciding leg.
I cannot believe that was 3 years ago. It's unbelievable.
Well, that was the last tournament on the Euro Tour that Alan Tabern played. He went out in the opening round, Tabby. He was beaten by Stuart Kellett.
100.
That's someone we haven't seen for a little while, Stuart Kellett. Well, Kuster, hope you're well, Kuster. Back in the UK. Well, I said it was Tash versus Tash. We've got a couple of corkers here. It's not even November, Dan.
Not. If you've got to look, stick with it. And Beaton
64.
Having a look at double 8. Strangely, he'd go that route. He doesn't usually go that route for 80, but I suppose with Tabern back on 220, go any route you like.
Didn't he beat Mervyn King in that final here?
He did beat Mervyn King.
Yeah, he's gone the Mervyn King way.
Yeah.
Maybe it's infectious.
140. Stevie requires 16.
No Mervyn King here this weekend, of course.
And shots in the first leg.
But Beaton is, and Beaton gets the first leg on the board with a double
Game on.
finish.
And over the course of time that we haven't seen Alan Tabern, he's obviously been working on his game through the Challenge Tour, had some success. Gone back to do a bit of work.
83.
But the one thing that's changed about his darts, the barrels are the same, the stems are the same, but he's using a bigger flight now. He was always the advocate for what
100.
Steve Beaton has in his darts, a very pear-shaped flight. But now Alan's gone to the slightly bigger ones, and the reasoning behind that is probably just to straighten them up a bit. When you use a smaller flight, you get more deviation from left to right.
140.
Slightly bigger, straightens it up. It wouldn't surprise me if he started playing really well with these ones. He went back to the pairs.
Well, that's the first 180 of this contest, and it goes to the bronzed Adonis. I've seen Beaton make a final on the Euro Tour since that win here in Sindelfingen, and that was the following year. He made it all the way to the final in Gibraltar, beaten by James Wade. That was Wade's first Euro Tour win, and look at this, he might be able to follow up that 180. Well, yeah, comes down from the 19s, leaves 1-2-2.
Steve Beaton's probably the only dart player whose suntan gets worse when he goes to Spain. I was at a golf day with him recently, and we were celebrating the fact that he'd been a world champion for 20 years.
122.
There were about 100 people with Steve Beaton masks on and Steve Beaton at the front. There was a picture of it on social media. It was totally priceless.
90.
What a dart that was.
And you require 130.
Found his way through. Tabern's only looking at 130. Only needs one treble for a go at the bullseye. Needs to find the treble 20 though. Doesn't do so. Beaton looking at double 16. 65. He's already pinned double 8
require 32.
for a break of throw and a 2-0 lead.
Short in the second leg.
Steve Beaton, 14 darter. He's seen off the first 2 legs in 30 darts. That's a flat 100 average.
Game on.
Well, there's a lot of superlatives for Steve Beaton. One is silky smooth. I think that's pretty much the perfect one for him, because that throw has not changed in 23, 24 years. It is probably the most sustainable throw that is currently on the circuit.
Yeah, you talk to dart players and you say, like, whose throws do you admire? You know, if you were trying to teach somebody how to throw a dart, a number of them would say straight away
140.
Beaton. That's it. It's just simple, straight, only moves from the elbow, there's no shoulder, there's no lurch, it's just simple.
Yeah, John Lowe used to be the perfect throw back in the early 80s to 90s, and then Steve Beaton came along, and then probably Raymond van Barneveld. He has had little changes in his action over the course of time, but it's still silky smooth. There's no hyperextension of the elbow, and that means he can play for longer if you've got less repetitive strain.
Barney does, I mean, it does look a lazy throw sometimes, Barney, but you know, it's
60.
He's throwing it from a big height as well.
140.
It's not the easiest one to replicate for anybody just taking up the game, as Beaton again leaves 80 and tries to go treble 16.
92.
But once again, he's way ahead of Tabern in this leg. He can pretty much do whatever he wants when he's getting to the back end of legs in the early part of this game.
He was saying it's a lazy throw for Barneveld because he's tall, but Steve Beaton's
he's
a bit of a lurch as well.
Short in the third leg, Steve Beaton.
Steve Beaton's here to win. He's doing a pretty good job of it so far.
Game on.
And we must talk about Alan Tabern as well. It's great to see him back, but I want to talk about my favourite Alan Tabern story. We've had Cristo Reyes last week. Suitcase didn't turn up. No darts. Had to go to the shop to get some stuff. Week before that, it was Darren Webster. No shirt, no trousers, no darts. Managed to still win a game.
140.
A few years ago, Alan Tabern, his luggage did not arrive into Atlanta, Georgia. He had to get someone else's darts. He had to get some new trousers, new shoes, the lot. Won the tournament.
140.
So Darren Webster, Alan Tabern will take your one win and raise it to a tournament win. And I think that's one of the most remarkable achievements I've seen in professional darts.
It's pretty impressive, as was that 180 from Beaton, who, quite frankly, is threatening to run away with this contest with Tabern. They have met 12 times over the years, but this is the first time they've met since 2013.
66.
That was a 6-0 win for Beaton, and I'll be honest, at the moment, I wouldn't rule out something similar here.
140.
Because, I mean, it's just superb from Beaton. He's not, you know, we talked about how silky smooth he is. He's not the quickest player in the world, and sometimes that can disguise how well he is playing.
94.
Because right now, Steve Beaton is averaging about 110, and he's just missed a big number.
Commentator's curse again. But he is playing like he's got a very early dinner reservation. And there's another point.
Steve Beaton.
That reservation must be at something around 5 o'clock. Because the way he's going, he's going to be off stage in about 10 minutes. And he'll be getting his started before 5 o'clock.
16 darter, 14 darter, 14 darter, 12. And he's just kicked off 136. Steve Beaton is absolutely on fire here. And Alan Tabern, despite making
60.
a return to the Euro Tour after 3 years away and winning his opening game, he just does not have an answer. I'm not sure many people would have an answer to Steve Beaton in this kind of a move.
40.
There you go. Nearly 109, although that drags it down.
It's a meagre 105 and a bit.
That first 9 average, that's the sort of stuff Van Gerwen, when he's playing well, is doing.
140.
Maybe you've got to look at the motivation of Steve Beaton this weekend. He's in as a seed at number 16. He's just snuck in, didn't have to qualify. And he has been to qualifiers recently and not got through.
59.
So maybe the motivation is to do really well this weekend, get himself up in those seedings a bit more, and have some guarantees for the start of the European Tour next year.
Well, he knows what it's going to take. And
100.
the likelihood is that he will face the world #1 Michael Van Gerwen in the next round, assuming that he gets through this. Now, do not write off Darren Webster, because
57.
we all know that Darren Webster is a very dangerous dart player and he's not scared of anyone. But Darren's recent record against Michael Van Gerwen is not good. 24 legs played, 22 legs lost.
Yeah, that's bad in any language. Dutch, English, whatever you speak.
45.
But Darren Webster's up against it later, but I thought he played pretty well yesterday.
He was. He is up for it. He is a feisty individual, is Darren Webster. This is a slightly off leg from Beaton. It just gives Tabern a chance, and it would be a break back if he can see this off. He may well get 6 darts from here. Treble 20, treble 20, double 18. That's not going to be the way. So 140 would leave double 8, and now he just wants a ton, really.
60.
I remember when Tabern played Wes Newton at the UK Open and he took out a barrel load of finishes. He took out a 161, 156. Everything was in that 150 to 167 bracket. Wes Newton couldn't
96.
breathe. So that was a while ago, but Tabern's definitely got it in his locker. This is a little bit shorter than that. Probably stay there now. 2 8s to get on the board.
88.
He might not come back.
Requires 73.
Beaton is hitting 2/3 of his darts at double, and he's going to get 2 here. And he's taken
shot
out
to the
first
fifth
dart,
leg.
and Steve Beaton is 5-0 up and making very light work of this retro darts encounter. The average has just dipped below 100 with that leg, but I tell you what, Steve Beaton is playing some serious, serious stuff.
85.
What he'll be buoyed by is the clinical way he's getting rid of his doubles. I mean, he's always been a very good double shooter.
93.
But this is particularly good.
Yeah, it really is. 71% on his doubles, Steve Beaton. And here comes Tabern.
140.
We were also talking last week about the last couple of weeks about Mensah Suljovic and his genuine joy for winning dart matches and obviously a tournament as well. And that's something that we've never questioned with Steve Beaton. His love for the game, his passion for the sport has been
81.
evident from the first dart he ever threw on TV. And he just walks around this place smiling. If you ever got the opportunity to just spend time with Steve, it's incredibly infectious.
61.
He just walks around like he hasn't got a care in the world.
Yeah, he plays the game in the right way, doesn't he? And even when he's at Ali Pali, he seems to hate Ali Pali. He doesn't. He's a former world champion, obviously, at the late
100.
But even at Ali Pali, where he tends not to have a good time of it, he's still, genial, does all his interviews, behaves himself,
And you require 95.
self-deprecating. It's like being a legend of the game.
And he's one of those players who can get away with wearing white.
Ha!
55.
We all long for the day when Steve Beaton makes a major final and delivers on his promise to come dressed as John Travolta from Saturday Night Fever for his walk-on.
I'd pay to watch that. As long as I'm not roped into doing the dance for staying alive again.
We'll leave that hanging as Tabern looks at tops. And there it is. He's got a leg on the board, Alan Tabern. It is not going to be the whitewash, but Steve Beaton has the throw here, and he's looking to make it 6-1. And he will be quite satisfied with his afternoon's work if he can see this leg off and book his place in the final day of action. And if it is MVG in the next round, as the bookies will tell you it's more than likely to be,
100.
then at least Beaton can take some heart from the fact he has won at this venue. And Michael Van Gerwen has never done that. We have played this,
100.
well, not this specific tournament, but played at this venue on the European Tour more than any other venue since it all started in 2012. And we have had a different winner in every single
60.
event. The first one was Adrian Lewis. Then we had Wes Newton, we had Steve Beaton, Mervyn King, and then, of course, Kim Huybrechts last year.
58.
Michael Van Gerwen, there aren't many venues in World Darts where Michael Van Gerwen has not won. This is one of them. I'd be interested to know
100.
if MVG thinks like that and whether he's got a list of things he wants to do. He obviously wants to win every tournament. Sometimes
that's what he thinks.
42.
Michael Van Gerwen just says, tournament, I want to win that.
Yeah.
He doesn't think about the venue or anything like that, but in the back of his mind, he'll know that he hasn't won here
97.
before. And he'll want to do so. But he's going to have to go through Steve Beaton by the looks of it.
Well, Darren Webster first up for MVG. That'll be later on this evening. But Steve
41.
Beaton... only 41. There's a
144.
sniff of a chance here for Alan Tabern, and that's disappeared on this visit. So he's relying on Beaton not taking out the 135. But
104.
if he gets a dart, and it may well be at the bullseye.
Oh, it's a good lie. If he'd hit that 60, that bullseye was begging to be hit just like that.
And you require 40.
Now Tabern to get 2 on the board. To chip away. Chip away he does.
In a 7 flag.
So what was looking like a whitewash is not so obvious anymore.
A flag Allen to throw first.
And that was a break of throw. So here we go. Hold here. It could be 5-3. And then some questions start to be asked.
Yeah, certainly do. Alan Tabern, obviously, from
60.
St Helens, the Saints. It is quite a hotbed of darts nowadays, St Helens. Obviously, Michael Smith, 3-time Euro Tour winner, who's in the top 8 in the world. Dave Chisnell, another man we've seen make 2 finals on the Euro Tour. Had to pull out of this weekend because of injury as Chizzy.
100.
Stephen Bunting, of course, from St Helens. There are a number of dart players. How much of a factor do you think that Alan Tabern was, you know, a big name in darts a number of years ago when those guys were growing up? As that played, you know, you need local heroes to look up to and inspire the next generation. You know, obviously Stoke is a hotbed of darts.
91.
It's no surprise we see more players come from Stoke.
I think you have to have a pioneer in a certain area of the country that you can look up to and say, you know what, I can do that. With Alan, when he was
66.
reaching number 10 in the world and winning tournaments on the Pro Tour, people like Michael Smith and Chizzy were looking up to him and saying, he's the best player around here, he's the guy to beat.
60.
It's the same in other parts of the country. With Glasgow area, it's Robert Thornton. Up in the north of Scotland, it's John Henderson. The northeast of England was always about Gary Robson and Graham Stoddart.
100.
Davy Richardson. They had lots of figureheads. Down in the south, they had, you know, Steve Maish had a profound effect on Southern darts with his Super League record and county record was almost...
140.
It was almost untouchable for 3 years.
135.
But Steve Beaton, who lives in Norfolk now, he's got another pop at this 135. Can he hit it this time? Oh, it's close.
110. Alan, you require 50.
Well, for a third leg on the spin, Alan Tabern, he survived a match dart here. Oh, that's not what you wanted, Alan. 15 scored. He wanted the 10 for double top, so he's only going to get 1 dart, and he's put that in the 19, so it's not the end of the world. 1 dart for Tabern to stay alive, to make it 5-3, and just put Beaton under a little bit of pressure here. Got to go. And it does go. Great dart, Alan Tabern.
He was teasing us. He wires the single. He wires the single. He hits the double right in the middle. And all of a sudden, this game has been turned on its head a little bit. But Steve Beaton did have a match dart there for that wondrous 135. He hit the bull in the previous visit to leave the double. This time he couldn't hit the bull. And Tabern took advantage. This has shown a little bit of metal, I think, from Alan Tabern. It just goes to show that he's got something in the region of I'm not going to give up no matter what the situation is. And that's very, very commendable.
Well, there wasn't a great deal Alan Tabern could do in the early stages. At 4-0 up, Steve Beaton was averaging 110. Now,
100.
The average has plummeted. It's plummeted 17 points. He's averaging 93 at the moment. Whereas Tabern has been sort of pootling along in the mid to high 80s. But if he could find a break in this leg, it's 5-4. He'd be throwing for 5 all.
60.
Maybe he's grinding the Adonis down.
Not many people can do that.
99.
And pootling is definitely my word of the day. I might have to hashtag that later. I don't even know what it means, but I will find out.
Just doing that.
Oh, doing that.
Doing that.
Doing
60.
a Tabern. Yeah. Pootling along.
Well, he's surrendered the advantage there, Tabern, with a visit of 60, but Beaton might be about to give him a
60.
sniff back, and he has done, just the 60 himself. Now, 1-3-5, he got a dart for the match. 1-2-4, he may well get another one.
91.
Not the end of the world at all,
124.
because that could guarantee him a shot at the bullseye if Steve doesn't. Well, he's left it handy.
Then you require
He wanted
90.
that treble 18 to start with on that second dart, but didn't get it. Now Tabern, huge moment. Go for the 20. Guarantees the 20. Will he hit the bull? No.
59.
It could be all
So you
over.
require
Steve Beaton's waited for this chance, and he takes
shot.
it.
And
Steve
that's
Beaton messes
Steve
not
Beaton.
with double 16 this time around. Second match dart, right in the middle, Dan Dawson.
Yeah, it certainly was. Steve Beaton absolutely sublime for the first 4 legs. It turned into a bit of a crawl over the line in the end, but Beaton does win the clash of the old-timers, and he books his place in the final day of action at the Happy Bet European Darts Grand Prix. It is either the world #1 Michael van Gerwen or the demolition man Darren Webster, who will face in the last 16 for a place in the quarter-finals, which will be played tomorrow night. We've got 2 more games for you on the way for the afternoon session here. Tony West, the Tornado, former world master, takes on 3-time Euro Tour winner Michael Smith, another player from St Helens, and it's the other one from the St Helens trio coming up now as the bullet Stephen Bunting takes on Jermaine Watamina.
Good game, really. I mean, I was happy with the first 5 legs, and then I sort of switched off. Maybe thinking of the next round, but you know, I'm glad to be through the next round.
Good memories to Sindelfing. I think that was your last tournament win, 2013.
Yeah, right here, wasn't it? Yeah. I've got to get through another big barrier tomorrow, if he wins. But he's playing my neighbour actually, so I wouldn't write my neighbour off. But yeah, lovely venue, brilliant crowd and everything, and looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, same to us. Thank you very much. Steve Beaton freut sich auf morgen, sagt, das war alles gut bis zum 5:0, dann hat er ihnen so ein bisschen rein